Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another epic battle in Rise of Mordor. Now, this mod has come out as of a few days ago. I have one video up on my channel so far, but I'm sure that you guys are aware because a lot of the YouTubers are putting up Rise of Mordor content because it's just such a crisp and well-done mod. Now, it is, as I said, I think in my first video, still in the alpha phase, so there are only two close to complete factions. The rest are kind of bare bones rosters, but it still didn't stop some of the players in today's battle from bringing them today. So let's jump into the army comps and then we'll get the battle started. The first army on the battlefield today is Dale, and this is commanded by myself. And Dale is one of the more complete factions, and they've got some really beautifully done units. But we are looking at the archers in the front lines here, so let's take a look at them. I have 4 units of these bardings, which is the best archers that Dale can bring. Followed closely behind, I have 4 units of these Vineland Watchmen. And just take a look at these pikes here. That is a very detailed pike, really nicely done on the modeling. So I've got 4 units of them. And then right in behind, I have 6 units of the Vineland Guards. And I love how they're called Vineland Guards, and they kind of have like these little grape-like jewels here, signifying vines. Which again, the detail is just really nice. So that's pretty much my main force, and then I have a little flanking force over on this side with my cavalry. So I've got 2 units of these merchant escorts, which I think are the best melee cav that Dale can bring. It's really nice looking there. And then we have 3 units of shipmen, which are a cheaper unit. They're only tier 2, but they are still trained, as you can see. And these shield shapes look really nice. I like it. And because they're called shipmen, they actually have whales on the shields, which is, again, a really nice touch. And last but not least, we have my general's bodyguard over here, which is the Rovanian Regents. And if we just zoom in here, this is my general, all in gold, who looks very nice. And that is it for Dale. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next army. The second army on the battlefield today, and fighting alongside Dale is the Dwarves, and this is commanded by the Hunted. Now, the Dwarves is one of the factions that has a pretty bare-bones roster, but that didn't stop the Hunted from bringing them today. The 2 units that they are able to bring are very solid. And the first one that we are looking at here, I believe, are the Hammerers, Grim Hammerers, and they are very elite infantry. If you just take a look at their stats here, 55 melee attack with 64 melee defense. That is huge. 45 armor, so not as heavily armored as the next unit over here, which is the Spear Guards of Erebor. Now, they are in a shield wall, but look at that armor. 82 armor and 89 melee defense. So these units have the potential to even outclass pikes. So in the beta of Rise of Mordor, we may see that they will get nerfed just a little bit. But the Dwarves technically should be the most solid infantry in Middle-earth. And I probably am going to trigger a couple of you guys with that statement, but I hands down believe that the Dwarves are the best infantry in Middle-earth. The Elves do have the Archers, but I don't know, the Dwarves, there's just something about the sturdiness of Dwarves that I really like. But there is the Spear Guards with their nice octagon-shaped shields in a testudo formation. And that's pretty much it for his army. The only thing else that he has is his general's bodyguard, which is a hammerer unit in the midst of a Spear Guard of Erebor. So that's it for the Hunted's Dwarves, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The third army fighting on the battlefield today alongside Dale and the Dwarves is Gondor, and this is commanded by Hohenmaster, and he was the one who played Gondor in my last battle as well, so if you guys haven't checked out my last Rise of Mordor battle, be sure to do so. But he's bringing 4 units of these Gondor archers here, and then his main line is 6 units of the Gondor infantry. On the flanks, he has 1 unit on each flank, totaling 2 of the Gondor spearmen. And then he has, I believe, 4 units total of these, what are they called again? Warriors of Lasarnark, or Lasarnark. I know somebody told me how to pronounce this in the last battle, but I'll have to take a look at the exact pronunciation. But these guys are pretty solid. And I think he had some cavalry over here. Here it is, way over on this flank. So he has 3 units of Knights of the Silver Swan, and the general is in the midst of that. So his general is a Knight of the Silver Swan unit, and I think that's the general right there, because he's the one who has his sword out. And then the last thing that the allies have, and it's way over here, and this is something new to any of the mods, it's a supply wagon. And basically, if you guys don't know what these do, if you have any artillery or archers that are within the area of effect of this supply wagon, it actually has 5 resupplies. So it will give your depleted archers and depleted onagers more ammo. So like that's amazing. I really like to see that. Hopefully the modeling will change as it gets into beta. I'd like to see maybe like a more of a covered wagon with like a door on the back or something. But yes, very, very cool. So that is it for the 3 allied armies. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 enemy armies. The first enemy army we're going to take a look at is Isengard, and this is commanded by Luckless, and he has a very solid force of pikemen mixed with berserkers. He's got this very large flanking force here, which is 1 unit of pikemen with 6 units of berserkers, and this is the Isengard player that is facing off directly across from Gondor. And also in the front lines, he has 4 units of the Urukai crossbows. And his mainline infantry consists of 5 units of Urukai infantry. And he has his general here, which is the White Hand Stormers. And if you guys do not have this unit, I think it was made available in the new patch, or the new version, I believe it's 0.11. So if you guys don't know how to download that, I did upload earlier today a how to install video on that. But these guys have massive shields. They look really, really nice. And then he has, I think, 2 more units of pikemen over here. So that's it for the first enemy army, so let's take a look at the next one. The second enemy army on the battlefield is also another Isengard player, and this is commanded by Kalos, Lotrtw, so Lord of the Rings Total War, a fitting name for a Rise of Mordor player. But again, he's also playing as Isengard, and he is in the center and directly across from the Hunted's dwarves. But he's brought a lot of these White Hand Stormers. You can see them all in a testudo formation in the front lines here. So I think he has 4 or 5 units of them. And then he has 4 units of Urukai pikemen, followed by 4 units of berserkers. And, oops, sorry, I was looking for his general there. I knew it was around here somewhere. His general is also a White Hand Stormer unit, but I don't think he's brought any archers at all. No, looks like no archers, so mostly going for a infantry type build. So we'll see how that plays out for him. But we only have 1 more enemy army to take a look at, and then the battle will begin. The final enemy army we have to take a look at in today's battle is the Easterlings, and this is commanded by Mordor of Rice. So it's a mix of Runic and Haradrim units. They're all kind of compiled together into one faction for now. But right off the bat, we're looking at these units of Southron cavalry, which have very poor armor, so if you can get a hold of them with some arrows, you will be able to deplete their numbers quite rapidly. But they are very light and very quick, and they have excellent melee attack for light shock cavalry. So he has 4 units of them, 2 here and then 2 over more towards the trees. And the main body of his force is still kind of forming up. But this faction is one of the less complete ones as well, so you will see a lot of the same unit. He has brought, I believe, 11 total of these dragon skin, which are the runic swordsmen. So they look very, very nice. Followed right behind that, he has 4 units of the Dragon's Fire, which are the bows. And I think that's pretty much it, except for that's his general, but he does have 1 unit of these Haradrim swordsmen here, which are more of a low-tier unit. You can see that their armor is somewhat lacking compared to the rune units, but they still look pretty cool. And they've got some nice little serpents on the backs of their... I don't even know what that is there, but it's a nice touch. The modders have done a really good job of the little details in this mod. So hats off to them. Really, really impressed so far. But that is pretty much everything for all of the armies. So without further ado, let's get to the battle. Alright guys, so welcome to the battlefield, and as you can see, we've got Gondor actually forcing the hand of Isengard to move forwards to attack. The Urukai crossbowmen have a marginally less range than the Gondor archers do. The Gondor archers pretty much had most of the infantry and the Urukai crossbows in their sights, so that kind of has forced the Isengard player over here, Luckless, to move forwards, but now he does have his crossbowmen in range to attack the archers as well, which is good. But Hohenmaster will probably focus one unit at a time to try to rid himself of the presence of these Urukai crossbows. But it looks like Luckless is actually just going in with his entire main front line. So Hohen, I'm sure, has pulled his archers back already. And he does have his supply wagon very close by, which is excellent. Over on this side, I am skirmishing the dragon skin with my archers and also pulling back my flanking force. But the battle will begin right here with the Gondor the Gondor infantry holding very strongly. And it looks like they're going to stop just before moving into melee. And there we go. So the main front line has begun, and we've got the Urukai pikemen moving in very close to the infantry to help give them the edge. However, Gondor has their warriors of Lusenark that they will be able to use to flank around. We've also got the Hunted with his Grim Hammerers. They are moving around to flank around the Urukai pikes. And over on this side, it looks like the flanking force hasn't moved in yet. The cavalry is pretty much zoning them out. But the runic archers over here, the Dragon's Fire, they are making short work of my Bardings. The Bardings not as good as the Dragon's Fire. But it looks like we got some units moving in. And, oh, my apologies, guys. I forgot to show you this one unit, the Sappers. The White Hand Sappers. This is basically the unit, if you guys remember, from the Two Towers, when the Berserkers actually ran into that little culvert after they put the black powder in there and exploded the walls. So basically what this White Sapper unit is it's a really overpowered artillery unit. Unfortunately, though, the player did charge them right into melee, so I don't know if his fire at will was off or what, but he expressed afterwards his confusion about that, why they just decided to charge into melee like that. But I've heard from other players that have played longer than I have that this unit of White Hand Sappers, if used correctly, can just destroy entire front lines. So it's really good for us that they weren't able to use that effectively. Over here you can see that Gondor is holding strong. The Berserkers are getting quite depleted. This flanking force over here doesn't seem to be doing too much at this point. But we've got the Grim Hammers, as I said, flanking around the pikemen. But look how short they look compared to the Urukai here. It's quite funny. Now, granted, the Urukai are up on a hill. But, man, these dwarves, really nice models here. Actually, they're getting cut down from behind by Urukai crossbowmen, though, which is a bit of a problem. And over here, yes, I do decide that I need to move my pikemen forwards. I realize from talking to the Hunted during the chat that my Vineland Guards, although they are elite, they won't be able to go toe-to-toe with the Dragon Skin. They're cheaper, I believe, than my units are, and they're just much more solid. So I'm pushing forwards my pikemen to kind of keep the zone out of here, and what I'm going to do is try and support my allies as much as possible. But we've got the pikemen moving in over on this flank. My archers, the pathfinding is a little bit weird still. My archers did not want to seem to get out behind the spear guards of Erebor which is what we needed to happen. But here we go. The Urukai are moving in. We've got the pikemen coming in against the spear guards of Erebor. And then they're going to be followed closely behind by the White Hand Stormers over here, which are charging into my Vineland guards, but I am going to hold this flank. And then what you can see is that I'm moving a couple of my units completely around the lines, and the Hunted is also bringing a few units of Grim Hammerers over as well. But my poor pikemen, these Vineland Watchmen, are just getting annihilated by the archer fire. It was pretty relentless. If we just put it onto slow motion here. The Rune units are just slaughtering my men, which is a little too bad. Maybe I shouldn't have pushed them out so much, but I wanted to just slow down this player as much as possible so that I could get my units in and around the lines of Mordor here. And as you can see, this player has already had to send in his general, the White Hand Stormers, to deal with my Vineland guards who are flanking around. But over here, we've got the cavalry running behind the enemy lines, pretty much mopping up these berserkers over here as well. And we've got some Urukai crossbowmen that are completely undefended over here, so the Knights of the Silver Swan are going to be able to run them down as well. So it's looking pretty good for us. As long as this massive, massive front line holds, then we should be able to take victory. But it is still very close. As far as the man count, we had 5,800 versus their 6,400. But they're down to a 300-man advantage. And I've now sent all of my units in. I've even got my shipment over here that got charged by the South Rhun cavalry, and now we've got the dragon skin coming into melee as well. And these shipmen are not as elite, so they're going to have some issues against the South Rhun cavalry here. So even though they're not that good, they are solid enough. Especially on, you know, my tier 2 infantry that aren't going to be able to hold a charge. Actually, I don't even think that they have the ability to go into shield wall. So yeah, we're holding here, but not for long. But that's basically my plan. That's all I need to do with my army, is just hold as long as possible and provide support to my allies. Because I've got the enemy general over here almost completely surrounded. Well, let's take a look at this mainline battle here. But these spear guards here, they are holding against the Urukai pikemen, which usually pikemen just get slaughtered when dealing with the spears get slaughtered when dealing with pikemen like this, but with such high melee defense stats like that, they just really can't pick them apart fast enough. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lines of Gondor over here. I'm seeing some wavering. It looks like some of the warriors of Lost Ark are starting to waver due to the pikemen. The cavalry is a little bit depleted dealing with the crossbows, but these units of only 11 men are still very deadly. They still can cause a lot of damage. Got the White Hand in there. Looks like the pikemen are almost trying to push forwards. So Gondor is doing very well on their flank. On my flank, though, not so much. If we turn back on the HUD, 6 minutes and 27 seconds left in the battle. And the other 2 units of South Rhun cavalry have been activated. And I've had to send in my general, the Rovanian Regents, to try to hold back the tide of Dragonskin and South Rhun cavalry that will try to flank around the lines of the Dwarves. So my general's being very brave right now, pretty much giving his life in defense of the battle lines. More units charging in. We've also got the dragon skin coming over here as well. But most of my units are starting to waver at this point. They're really depleted. You can see only a couple of them fighting over here. And there is my general. He is dead. So hearing a lot of breaking and fleeing going on. But the dwarves, again, are still holding. Look at their numbers here. 10 men lost, 5 men lost, 1 man lost, and 0 men lost. And the pikemen, conversely, are just taking a ton of damage. And Gondor has pretty much routed Luckless's force over here. The Uruk-hai pikes broken. We've got some of the berserkers and Uruk-hai infantry still holding out, but not for long. Oh man, that volley from the archers as well. He's got his supply wagon going, so we're looking pretty good over on that flank. Let's get another end zoom in here. The dwarves holding against the Uruk-hai. I've heard that actually when they did the dwarves, that they've actually they've had to get a special, complete new slate because the dwarves are so much shorter than a normal unit, that the dwarves were built completely from scratch. So that's really nice to see how far the modders are going to get, you know, some accurate shots and accurate unit sizes. I've heard that they're also going to be adding trolls in as well, which will be very exciting. What do we got going on over here? My archers now are in melee, the Bardings, against the South Rhun cavalry, but again, I'm just trying to hold them as long as possible, because as you can see, the Easterling player did pretty well against my men. A lot of these South Rhun swordsmen have about 50 kills or more under their belt, and they barely taken damage. Now, they are gold chevron upgraded, so that could be, you know, the reason why they lasted so long compared to mine. Yeah, my archers over here firing into that South Rhun cavalry. Again, like I said, getting a hold of the South Rhun cavalry with archers is the best way to repel them. And look at that, they're already starting to waver. So getting rid of all of the cavalry does give the dwarves the edge, because the dwarves do not have any cavalry. And we've got the Knights of the Silver Swan from Gondor showing up. And we're getting a nice secondary battle line forming up here as well. Let's go ahead and put this on slow motion. Only 3 minutes left in the battle, and we've got like this perpendicular battle line that's forming here with the dwarves. We've got Gondor closing in as well. Some of the archers are already in range. So look how far that range is, probably encompassing the front ranks of the Easterlings already. But we've got a pretty major blob up over here as well, so I think I was trying to focus what's left of my archers over here, but they're too busy cheering over the fact that they just slaughtered thousands of brave Dale soldiers. But in their celebration, they have not spread out, which is a little bit of a problem. But yeah, we've got this really nice battle line here, kind of a last stand from Mordor of Rice. And just look at these runic soldiers in their shield wall. They've seen some bloodshed, but they are still ready to do battle once again. Very, very nice there. And I think I just send in what's left of my units. I have a couple of units left. I've got 2 units of my Vineland Guards, one with 32 men and one with 63 men. And I've got 2 units of archers that are finishing up with their ammo as well. So I'm just going to send them into melee. They want some revenge for all of their fallen brothers, but this runic spear wall is just going to hold them and not even be phased by the Vineland Guards coming in. I love the models of the Vineland Guards, though. They look really nice. And here come the dwarves in as well. pushing past the Vineland guards to get their piece of the action. And it looks like we got the Haradrim swordsmen over here against the Grim Hammerers. Oh, and yes, we've got the Knights of the Silver Swan in behind the enemy lines. Huge charge. This one horse, this one unit, knocking like 5 or 6 of them down and only 2 of them getting up. So that's why I'm saying just having a unit of 10 or 12 men is still enough to get a decent amount of damage. And that was the hunted Spear Guards of Erebor. The general was struck down. So now we've only got Hohen Master's general still alive, the Knights of the Silver Swan over here, disengaging just in time. But I think that's going to be the battle there. And the end of the battle, my army, I had just under 200 men left. Just total bloodshed on the battlefield today. And there we go, a Pyrrhic victory. So let's end the replay and take a look at the results. And this is, if you guys are wondering why my font looks so much different, I have the Lord of the Rings font mod installed over it. It just adds a little bit more depth to the mod itself. But yeah, looking at my troops, most of them dead. These 2 units were pretty much all I had left, and I think one of my units of Vineland Guard was still alive. I think this one. But with my general, 49 kills. My pikes over here, 0 kills on all of them. So bad move by me, moving them into melee so quickly like that. I should have just held back. But my cav not doing too bad. My archers doing well, and a couple units of my Vineland Guard getting high kills. Looking at Hohen Master, 382 with this general, 355 and 133 with his other 2 units of the Knights of the Silver Swan. Over 100 kills with all of his archers and his main line of swords doing well. Actually, 291 with this unit of axes. And looking at the hunted, pretty much his entire army got over 100 kills, like, or at least close to, with this unit of Grimhammers getting 337. Looking at Luckless first, this one was against Gondor. The Pikes, low kills. The Berserkers, not too bad, 110 here. But the Infantry, not as high of kills as I would have liked. And the Crossbows, well, mixed bag. 61 isn't too bad. And then Kelhas, LOTR, TW, he was in the center. And not too, well, like 116 is good with his general. His Berserker is doing well, but again, the Pike's really suffering. I think in the next patch, the Pikemen need to get better melee defense stats and also better melee damage to be able to get more kills. And then Mordor of Rice against me, he did pretty well. Almost 100 kills with all of his sword units. Even the Haradrim swordsman at 94 kills. Archers getting high kills, and the cavalry as well. So he got a lot of kills on my men. This says 477, but what I had left on the battlefield I think was 194 by the end of the battle. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this Rise of Mordor mod. It is still in alpha phase, but as I said, I hope that you guys do download it and give it a try because it is really fun. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.